Wow. This is crazy. Standing on the stage, the same stage the governor and first lady were just standing on. So just give me a second to collect myself. 4 years ago, at the first Recovery Reinvented, the first lady had asked people who was in recovery to stand up. And conditioned by society and people around me, I was told that addicts and alcoholics, it wasn't a good thing. Some people even said they were bad. I was taught to believe that it was something to be ashamed of. So I didn't stand up. And then after I thought about it, I thought about the First Lady's story that she shared with everybody and the courage it took to share not just on a state platform, but also on a nationwide platform. And her story inspired me to stand up. So with little encouragement, my sister sitting next to me, for the first time, I stood up as a person in recovery. Fast forward 4 years to today, I'm standing on the stage in front of all of you as a person proud to be in recovery. So I grew up in a small community south of here, and I experienced a lot of discrimination in the form of racism. I was bullied because I was different. And I turned to drinking, and eventually I turned to drugs. And eventually I ended up, those choices and that behavior ended up leading me down into a life of incarceration. I was incarcerated 3 times as a juvenile, been in jail a couple dozen times. I also spent 5 years in prison for a drunk driving accident where my best friend died and I was responsible for it. A couple years after my release from prison, I lost both my parents and my only brother, my big brother. He lost his battle with addiction. So I was in a really dark place for a number of years. I ended up, it just increased the pain that I was going through and pushed me further down the black hole of chaos and violence and destruction. Years later, I ended up having a little daughter, and she changed my life. She saved my life, and she gave me a reason to live. She gave me a reason to change. Just like when I used to do drugs, I was desperate to get high. I would be willing to do anything to get high. I ended up becoming desperate to get sober, and I was willing to do whatever it took to be sober. So I swallowed my pride and I reached out for help. I knew I couldn't do it alone. I reached out to the local human service center, and I got involved with support groups like RAD, Runners Against Destructive Decisions, which ultimately helped save my life. And when it came to recovery, I would just show up. I'd be present. Even when I didn't feel like it, I would show up and be present. And finally, I was fortunate enough to be blessed with the world's best sister, who's always there for me. Never turned her back on me, even though I gave her countless reasons to. It really does take a village in this, with recovery. Recovery isn't easy, but it's worth it. Because I chose recovery, I filed for and was awarded full custody of my daughter. Because I chose recovery, in 1 year, I'll have a bachelor's degree and I'll be a licensed addiction counselor. Because I chose recovery, I'm blessed with an amazing job where I'm provided with an opportunity to help individuals that are struggling with addiction. And because I chose recovery, I'm free and I'm alive. We can recover.